Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unlimited, episode 71. And you may be asking yourself, why are we recording one when we said we wouldn't be back till January? Well, I felt like it. So joining me for this episode is...
Holy shit, where's the Tylenol?
Yeah, he's out of his gourd this week.
No, it went in with your undercurrent music last week at the end of the rant. Holy shit, where's the Tylenol? I was either going to go with that or fix the new post. I'm, of course, Steve doing Mike. Oh, quiet you.
You and your terrible reference.
How is referencing Christmas Vacation a terrible thing? Don't even go there.
Well, the secondary one, the Tylenol I got.
I mean, fixing the new post, it's the same damn thing. He cuts the top of the banister off with the chainsaw.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember what it's called, so.
Anyway.
So, when you're hearing this, GCRN Wars, the semifinals will have been out.
Yep.
You should go listen to that because it gets more upsetting as it goes along. Especially with who made it to the Final Four.
Next time we do one of those video game tournaments, unless it's a tournament of all duos, no duos in a single competition tournament. That's just cheating and wrong.
It doesn't matter.
It's cheating and wrong. Ratchet and Clank. Ugh.
You're just pissed because Spyro lost because he's a little bitch.
Sonic's gonna run circles around Ratchet and Clank. Sonic fans, unite! Vote Ratchet and vote Sonic.
Vote Ratchet.
Shut
and
up.
Clank. Sonic's gonna win anyway. That's my prediction, but still. So yeah, there's that. Had some interesting things pop up over the last week. Between my life and then things with the site, which I'm not going into detail on either. I will say one half of the site issue is rectified at this point.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
And all I'm gonna say is GCMN are the worst call letters ever.
You and your terrible references again.
It's not a tip.
I do like how the one changed from GCN to UGN. So
you put a P in there. It's owned by CBS and Warner Brothers.
Well, I was going to say it was going to be owned by IGN, but they split them off because it's the underbelly. It's mean. I didn't mean that, Master. So yeah, there's that. You may be wondering, if you look at the website, there is now a Donate Now feature, which is to help the Geekcast Radio Network. We are currently looking for as close to a $1,000 goal as possible. What this will allow us to do is to help us protect the site, our name, the bringing quality content to you guys, continuously, allowing us to have sometimes giveaways, allowing to fund us at least materials to go to conventions. And when I say that, I don't mean like our tickets to go, because sometimes you can get press passes, sometimes not. Sometimes it's even if we have to pay, it's not a big deal. It's more so the cost of having merchandise to give away.
Yep.
Some of the perks we're talking about we'll reveal later, the beginning of 2015, associated with it. But right now we're just doing donations. anything helps. You can set up recurring if you'd like. You can set up one time. You can do whatever you're comfortable with. We know that it's hard times, and especially right now, it's Christmas time, so it's not the best time to be panhandling. Granted, we're not actually panhandling, but still, if you feel so inclined to donate, we very much appreciate it. We will make sure that you get your money's worth, especially with some new features we're thinking of. So there's that. But that's at the top of the website if you choose to do so.
Absolutely.
What else has been going on over the last week?
Let's see. The Voice crowned a winner for Season 7. Not that you really care about that, but they crowned a winner for Season 7. That ended... I'm trying to think. I am slowly getting through all of my end-of-the-year La La Land Records reviews. By the time, hopefully, this episode goes live on the site, I will have my Miracle on 34th Street written review done. My Danny Elfman Batman Collection review done, which is a 4-disc set for the expanded editions of both 1989 Batman soundtrack and Batman Returns. I'll also have a Batman Forever set review as well. The only thing La La Land Records needs to release now is the score from Batman and Robin, which has never been released to this point. And I'm not talking about the actual I'm talking about the score, the background music, the sound, the themes, the anthems. I'm not talking about, R. Kelly's Gotham City, because that was already released X number of years ago. What else has been going on? I have been having a blast with Lady Wreck and Beatles Diva doing the Gem review show that will be premiering next year. I swear, man, every time I record with those gals, it's like it just cannot stop laughing. I told you this off air a couple weeks ago. Showtime Synergy is going to give The Beast on a Leash a run for its money when it comes to not just being vulgar, but just really, really raunchy humor. So
We shall see.
yeah, Gem's going to knock you out, Megatron.
I highly doubt it.
Let's
Maximal
see
scum.
what else. I have been not necessarily planning, but I guess I've been planning. I've been planning the first 3 months of 2015 for the pull bag as far as what I'd like to cover. And what I've noticed is, in doing the pull bag in its second year this year, I've diversified a lot. I know a lot of people in the beginning were like, oh, it's just a superhero and DC Comics podcast. And because of everything that DC has done this year to piss me off, I have really been branching out into other publishers, specifically IDW and Image Comics. It seems like every time I go on Comixology and look up at a comic that I haven't seen before, and a couple of times on there, it has been a free issue. I'll get it just because it's a free issue and it looks interesting. I then look at it and I'm like, oh, this is from Image. That's amazing. That's awesome. So the pull bag has really gotten diversified. I wasn't able to do the 25 days of Tooncast Beyond Christmas this year, but it will happen next year in 2015, and I am in the process of basically reformatting Tooncast Beyond as far as how the show will lay out and what we'll be doing each episode and that kind of thing. What else? Other than that, I'm just trying to relax over the holidays, really.
So speaking of holidays, what do you guys do for holidays? And this is not necessarily directed at you,
I know.
TFG1. This is directed at the listeners.
Yeah, I know that. Thank you.
Nobody cares about you. No.
This is an audio podcast, so no one can see me flipping you off yet again.
I love doing that. I'm going to give you a goat simulator and let you
Jackass!
have your way with that.
You jackass!
So, So yeah, there's that. Just kind of wondering what your Christmas traditions are and what you do. I, for instance, I have to travel normally 3 households, but this past week I went to my in-laws and did Christmas there, where my son got more than enough gifts that he doesn't honestly need. And then Christmas Day, we get to have our Christmas in the morning, which we'll all get gifts. I'm pretty sure I have an idea what 2 of mine are. The rest I'm unsure. My son I know has got quite a few, and then my wife's got quite a few because I bought them. But then we go to my mom's and then my dad's, where we'll get stuff there too. So yeah, it's going to be a very long day, both ways. So there's that, and then I get to go back to work on Friday, which is today. As of this record release, anyway. So yeah, there's that, and then for New Year's, I really don't do anything for that. But
Yeah, New Year's is pretty much just go to bed early, wake up, and it's a new year. Because it's still, ever since Mr. Clark passed away, I'm glad they still call it Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve, but they've added the with Ryan Seacrest at the end of that now. It's because Ryan does the hosting for it, but...
Well, because, Dick Clark lives on in his ghost form.
Yeah.
Haunting Ryan Seacrest. So when Ryan does something wrong, that you'll know because they go off of him.
Yeah.
And then you come back and he's like in a different environment because Dick Clark like bitch slapped him to another area.
It could be worse. They could have Brian Dunkelman.
Could be worse. They could have that other guy that used to be on MTV.
Which one?
Carson Daly or whatever it was. Or was he VH1?
No, Carson was MTV, but Carson is honestly, he's not like... Given the choice of watching a radio personality or a television personality when it comes to music between Carson Daly and Ryan Seacrest, I'd rather watch Carson Daly because at least he has more media presence, and he just, I don't know, he's just overall more interesting to hear stories from than Seacrest is.
Anyways, now that we've jumped onto that shitstorm somehow, kind of pulling full circle to some of the latest happenings in media news, we have, of course, going back to the Batman content, Michael Keaton, it's been floating around. There's the unused Michael Keaton Batsuit designs surfacing, which, depending on what you think about it, look either nice or strange at the same time.
It looks strange to me. I'm happy with the suit that he wore in the movie. I know the suit he...
Well, this was for the third one, kind of.
The third one?
Well, you remember originally he was supposed to do Batman Forever.
Oh, that's... yeah.
And it looks like in the in the Batsuit that he actually was going to get to move his head.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of looked like a cross between Returns and Forever without adding the bat nipples or adding the Forever-isms into the suit. So it would have been interesting.
It would have been. It would have made him look completely anorexic, though. Suit just looks all wrong.
Batman is short. That version.
Just...
I'm taller than that Batman.
Yeah.
Then there's the other thing of, the Beetlejuice.
Yep.
The Beetlejuice is Tim Burton pretty much said that it's, for the most part, going to happen. And then Winona Ryder and Keaton are pretty much down for it.
Yeah.
Which is to be expected.
That movie is so old. I just don't know what a sequel will do for it at this point. Like that movie is so classic at this point, and I mean, I'm glad that it's the original people like Burton and obviously Keaton and Ryder, but I don't know. It just, do we really need a Beetlejuice sequel at this point in Hollywood? Really?
The only way I could see it working is if they had, like, Winona Ryder's character have kids and stumble upon something.
Yeah.
That was Beetlejuice's and say, what's that? That was, you don't need to know about that. And then they kind of look it up and find out about it and end up summoning the bastard from hell.
Yeah.
Could work. It could
work.
Although, as we've seen, a lot of things that have come back from the 80s should have just stayed in the 80s.
Yeah.
Namely, Die Hard,
RoboCop, Total Recall.
Well, those were reboots, not sequels.
Yeah, true.
There's Dumb and Dumber 2.
I still have not seen that movie. I don't think I ever will see that movie.
I've seen it. From the privacy of my own living room. But it's not... I enjoyed Horrible Bosses 2 much more than I enjoyed Dumb and Dumber 2.
And that's sad. Not that...
And I've heard bad things about both.
Yeah.
And I actually was quite pleased to see Horrible Bosses 2 because the formula that they used in the movie... They acted like they were going to hit the same notes as the first film, and then they pulled a 180. Like they started going down the same path just to kind of screw with itself, and then they made them botch every effort that they did right that they did wrong in the first movie. So it was kind of nice. Then, of course, we have some other... I'll get into some other kind of decent news before we get into the shitstorm that I am wanting to actually talk about. Nicktoons Network, they're putting the Throwback 2003 Ninja Turtles episodes online.
See, I thought they were also going to be on TV. On the Nicktoons channel. I could be wrong about this.
It's going to be on both.
Yeah.
It says don't have Nicktoons Network. It says looks like Nick is putting the Throwback 2003 Ninja Turtles online too.
Right, yeah.
So they'll have both, which I don't have cable anymore. So I'm going to have to watch them that way. I remember watching it when it first came out, and there were some goofy things that happened in the first season. I just can't remember exactly what happened. So I'm going to have fun going back and watching them with my kid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because one of his favorite words is turtle. So it gives me an excuse to sit there and watch it.
Yeah, the 2003 show, for the most part, it ran from 2003 to 2009. For the most part, in the beginning, it was pretty awesome. I mean, sure, it's not our classic favorite voice actors from the 80s, but each of those characters and each of those voice actors that work on the 2003 series do a good job of, becoming the characters that we all know and love. And the theme song is pretty catchy, and I really dig it. I can't wait to... Does it say when they're... Have they already started putting them on, or does it say when they're going to do it?
I don't know.
Huh.
So yeah, that could that'll be interesting when they do.
Yeah. I do know several people on YouTube have the entire series up there. but it's nice, and I'm happy that Nickelodeon is going back and putting it all online and on their channel for legal viewing.
Well, and I think that it helps that one they basically took the '87 series and just updated their animation style on a lot of effects. But I mean, yeah, they made it more serious and more up to date with the modern times. But they also a lot of the designs are pretty close to what the originals look like, or the origins, or
A little
or
bit,
stuff
but
like
the
that.
origin stories are completely different because we didn't have Hun in the '87 series. We didn't have Shredder as an Utrom in the '87 series. So, I mean, yeah, I see your point, but it's also a little bit different as well, which is not a
Yes.
bad thing at all.
So yeah, I'm quite psyched to see it. So at least Nickelodeon's, doing something intelligent with their programming that they bought and that they have, and like Cartoon Network when they kill stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that Nickelodeon got a hold of Turtles instead of Cartoon Network. They would have killed it. It's a trap.
Yep.
Um, I found some goofy video that was floating around earlier last week, and it was Weird Al.
Oh Lord.
He had this mysterious floating orb, and it turned out to not be a mysterious orb. It was a soup ladle. But the way that he held it in his shirt, it looked like it was floating. And then he turned and he pulled it out of his shirt, and then he started sifting through like the soup on the stove. It was real quick, but it was just stupid funny.
It's crazy.
I couldn't help it. So yes, I had to bring that up. It was definitely newsworthy.
Yeah.
Not really, but I just thought it was funny. This one you kind of thought was funny though. The Peyton list to play Lisa Snart, a.k.a. the Golden Glider in The Flash, which is Captain Cold's sister.
Yeah.
And it's actually just like how they've had a Prison Break renewal or kind of reunion in The Flash and Arrow with the Clock King, who was Theodore Bagwell in Prison Break, and then they had Michael Schofield, which is
Right.
He's Captain Cold, and then they had his brother in that show. That guy is a different villain. They just haven't shown him yet. Well, they're having a Tomorrow People reunion because they had the one that was playing Steven in the show. He's playing Firestorm in The Flash. Well, this Peyton List, which is the same name as the one that's on Jesse, who's older, she is playing the sister. So it's kind of, I don't know anything about the character, so that'll be interesting for me to sit there and watch and kind of find out as I watch. But
Yeah. When I first saw the name, I'm like, hey, wait a second.
well, and the funny thing is a lot of news sources online when they first came out with that information
They thought it's...
had his freaking her picture,
Yeah.
the Jessie actress's picture with the article, and it was actually the other actress.
Yep.
And then the major shitstorm I actually want to talk about, that is the actually I'll save that.
No, go ahead.
No, because I want to bring up the other two things
okay.
first. The Sony hack.
Uh-huh.
What are your thoughts about that? With the whole interview movie and everything else.
First of all, I'm not a fan of Seth Rogen. Between Seth Rogen and whoever the hell created Family Guy, I'm just not a fan of that comedy at all.
Well, those are completely two different people.
I know, but I'm that style of comedy, I'm just not a fan of. the interview, I looked at it online. I didn't look at the movie itself, but I looked at the description of what the movie is. It's just another stupid slapstick comedy. It reminds me of 30 Minutes or Less, is what it reminds me of. It just,
They were trying to make a second one of that, and they got botched too.
What was it going to be called? 60 Minutes or Less for a sequel?
Maybe.
But first of all, Sony getting hacked, that's not cool. Anything getting hacked is not cool. I mean, sure, we live in an age where there's person-to-person sharing all over the world. But the fact that you're going to sit there and hack a movie studio, really? Seriously? Come on now. There are better things to do with your lives.
Yeah. My thoughts on the whole thing is, I think that it's I think it's kind of asinine that people have to do that, and for one, it's a movie. It's basically screwed our freedom of speech.
Yeah.
When you think about it, if you're letting something control you just because you get hacked, if you got hacked, I mean, I'm not saying that it's their fault that they got hacked. I mean, it may have been, it may not have been, but and I'm not saying that it'd be easy to block it, because probably not.
Yeah.
But you think they would have kept all this vital information off of their main servers?
Yeah, you would think, or you would think they would have a high firewall and encryption rate, you know.
I bet you they do now.
Well, you think, yeah.
The funny thing is North Korea got theirs, which it may not have been them. It may have been them. Nobody really knows for sure what the whole story is behind that.
Yeah.
If you choose to believe that, then karma hit them pretty hard because they got knocked offline. Which I find to be ironic and very funny, but if it's not them, I mean, then I feel bad. But again, it's so hard to know in today's age who's full of shit, who's not.
Yeah, very true.
So
and especially, and I mentioned this in oh god, about 20 episodes or so back in the podcast, when spoof stories come up, it's so hard nowadays to, you know. I have been fooled so many times by, you know, false stories. And it's not that someone goes, and usually I look for websites that I know are like real sources, like the LA Times or like, you know, Chicago Tribune, or, you know, sites that are reputable. But even sometimes then it could still be a false story. And it's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things where this whole hack thing is just, and it isn't just the Sony hack. It's, I mean, how many times has PlayStation Network and whatever else? I mean, there's been so many hacks in the last 5 years. It just,
shoot, really in the last 2.
well, true, but I was trying to give it a little bit broader scope. But yeah, I mean, it's so friggin' weird that all this stuff is happening now.
That be true. So, yeah, that's it. It's kind of interesting. And then there's the new Pee Wee Herman movie being produced by Judd Apatow, which is like Seth Rogen type comedy.
Yeah.
Heading to Netflix with Paul Rubens playing Pee Wee.
Well, he's the only person that can. I don't care how old Paul Rubens is or gets. He's the only person, and granted, it's going to be a little creepy seeing a 90-year-old Paul Rubens playing Pee Wee, but it's one of those things where, you know, I love we live in a world where we've gotten to the point where so many actors, there's always the joke of, putting Peter Cullen's voice on ice or putting his head on ice or whatever else. And Paul Rubens, when it comes to Pee Wee Herman, is the same way. No one else can do that. No one. I don't. Maybe some of the better voice actors can imitate the voice,
Oh, Jimmy Fallon's pretty.
Jimmy Fallon's not a
pretty
friggin'
close.
voice actor, though.
He's not a voice actor, but he doesn't have to be. He's a good impressionist, and that's. Say what you will, but it's.
I'm
pretty
not.
damn
Well,
close.
I'll go ahead and go on my tirade here because I'm not too thrilled with this. You mentioned Jimmy Fallon. And every now and then, since he's taken over the Tonight Show, I've checked in and, tried to watch it. And I mainly watch for, like, if there's a guest I want to see him interview. And I mentioned this at the top of the podcast this time around, and I know you don't care about this, but usually when whoever wins The Voice, they make the rounds. They go to the Today Show, they go to whatever late night shows to promote the fact that, hey, I won this year's contest and, I've got, a new album coming out, whatever else. He was on the Today Show, and the Today Show, in this day and age, I can't stand any of the people that are hosting the Today Show at all. I don't even watch the Today Show anymore. I haven't watched it in 20 years or so. He went on the Today Show, and they were really respectful. They asked him a whole bunch of questions. You get to the next night, or that night, on Jimmy Fallon, and he's basically background with the Roots. He's not even a real guest. He's just there for the Craig Wayne Boyd, who was the finalist in season 6. I cannot stand late night television anymore. I just can't.
You're just crotchety old man.
Because I miss the greats like Johnny Carson.
He's dead, Jim.
Well, you miss the ones that are like Casey Kasem.
True.
He's dead also. Buried in Norway.
Oh, don't bring that up.
He is.
That woman. I don't know.
That bitch.
All right, so where are we going from here?
Yes. Let me first preface this with, I think Star Trek has been damaged, ruined, and destroyed in the last 5 years.
Oh God, our 5-year mission to ruin the franchise.
Well, Paramount succeeded. I don't know. I'm so sad to see Star Trek go down the shitter like it has in the last few years. I really am. Yeah. It used to be such a nice, such a nice franchise. Used to be such a nice, just highly intelligent writing.
Yeah.
And storytelling and adventure and political drama with it all kind of rolled into one. And it had, yes, a little bit of action, but it wasn't primarily action. And with Abrams, you started getting the shine, the lens flare, the recycled story, the recycled plot lines and character development. And a lot of it was sloppy. And I'm not saying it's Abrams' fault that it was that way. The lens flares I blame on him because that was him. Yeah. But the rest of it I can't really blame on him because he didn't write it. Right. I blame that on the dynamic duo that have split. It's like Toucan Sam, follow your nose. Right to the pile of coke. So you can tell what they were snorting when they wrote it. That being said, we're getting into the era where I think Orsi wasn't he supposed to be the one that was directing?
He was going to be writer-director, yeah, but that's...
Yeah, now he's going to be a producer, which is just as bad, honestly. I'd rather they booted his ass from the cartridge of Trek and started fresh again, but in that essence, they kind of are. They hire the Fast and the Furious 6, 5
Justin Lin
director to do I choose not to acknowledge him.
Right, but just so everyone knows, you are talking about Justin Lin.
I will say I will reserve judgment because he may do okay. However, having seen the fact that he's done like heist action movies, That is not.
Well, yeah, but you can't. Okay, sure. He's done the Fast and the Furious movies. And the Fast and the Furious movies have gone beyond just street racing. They really have. As you said, they've become.
I mean, shit, he's done 4 of them.
Okay. All right. Calm down.
I'm not.
Calm down. Because, yes, he has done 4 Fast films. But here's the thing. You know, you don't know what he's going to do when it comes to Star Trek, because it's a completely different beast. I mean, what's he going to do? All right, let me just run this down before you interrupt me, because I want to make sure that I have this. I want to make sure I have this correct. You have A, B, C, D, and E, correct? You have
As far as what?
As far as ships, you have A, B.
You have the original A, B, C, D, and E.
Okay, so
there's 7.
Unless Justin Lin is going to do a street race in space with the with the Enterprises, I really don't think you can really compare what he might do with the 3rd Star Trek film to what he's done with Fast and the Furious, because it's 2 very different genres. Who knows? Like, it's really the approach I've taken the last year and a half, 2 years at this point. I don't know. Okay, sure, I've seen the 2 Star Trek films that Abrams did. I still don't know, even after seeing the teaser trailer for Episode 7, I still don't know what the hell his style is going to look like on Star Wars, other than the teaser trailer that we saw, and it looks pretty cool for the most part. And there wasn't too much lens flare, except on the Millennium Falcon scenes. But anyway, my point here is, don't pull a me and judge Justin Lin just by what his heist street racing films were.
Oh, I'm gonna pull a you.
Yeah, I figured you would.
This is one topic that I'm more passionate about than Transformers.
I know.
And of course Batman.
Well, yeah, but
there's Batman. I would almost argue that and Trek are about neck and neck.
So
for me,
would you rather have? All right. So even though Justin Lin is the guy, would you rather have Christopher Nolan doing?
Fuck no.
Okay then.
I hate. The only thing I like that Christopher Nolan's done has been The Prestige.
Yeah.
And that was because it had nothing to. I mean, it fit his style perfectly. Everything else he's done. Mm-hmm. I like The Dark Knight and I liked Batman Begins, but the rest of everything he's done to me has been dog snot. Like, I know I'm going to catch shit for it, and I understand that, and I will accept it. I will not fling it back. But this whole thing with Trek, it got ruined when Enterprise was birthed. And then after Enterprise was killed, and then they revived it with Star Trek 2009, which, okay, I gave it props. It rebooted it. It restarted it. It was fresh. They kind of revived some of the stuff that we liked from the original with giving it a new flair. Well, I gave it props.
Yeah.
Into Darkness came out 4 years later, and it was complete shit. Like, I hated that movie.
Yeah.
Like, I like it as far as an action movie, but it's a terrible movie. The writing is sloppy. It's ridiculous. It's not even scientific in the slightest. The character development is dead.
Mm-hmm.
The pacing was okay,
mm-hmm.
but there was no actual development going on in that entire film besides convenience points and recycled dialogue.
Mm.
So, and then there's that whole factor of where the hell's the rest of the fleet? You know, the first movie we saw half the fleet get decimated. Well, this is years later. We should see the rest of the fleet, you know,
Yeah.
some of the ones that are surviving to fight the Vengeance. Well, nope, it's Enterprise versus Vengeance. There's nobody else around. Never mind, we're next to Earth.
Yeah, really.
So this new film is supposed to be like out in space.
Right.
So the only thing I can equate it to is they're going to play a Star Wars and do the Kessel Run.
Oh God, I hope not.
Because then that would prove my point that he's going to do another heist movie with Star Trek, and then they're going to have like the Klingons, the Romulans, and the Enterprise fighting over something.
Okay, let me just run this down really quick. This is from Wikipedia. And this is his filmography according to Wikipedia. I'm not looking at...
I'm looking at IMDb.
Okay, well, you can fill in any blanks. He had Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious from 2009, Fast 5, and Fast 6. Next year, he's doing The Bourne Betrayal.
Nope.
Yes, he is.
It got canceled.
It got canceled? Seriously?
Yes. That's why he has an opening for Star Trek.
Oh.
They're doing it. They're not doing that Jeremy Renner Bourne sequel. It's going to be Paul Greengrass and Matt Damon now.
See, I thought it was going to be Greengrass on the writing and whatever else, or...
Nope, he's directing. That's the only way Matt Damon would come back.
See, okay. And then Star Trek.
So that's why Star Trek 3 is replacing it, and that's why he got it. Because if he would have had the Bourne sequel, he would have never got this film.
True.
Because they want it to come out in 2016, and they want it to stay that way because it's 50 years of Trek.
Right, yeah.
Now, would I rather see this guy take it than like a Michael Bay or something? Yeah, probably. But I don't want to see it get actioned up. I want to see it go back to the adventure and the character development and the actual, the science that was Star Trek. Mm-hmm. Not just, like the whole thing of, the Enterprise can be in the atmosphere. Oh, the Enterprise can be underwater. No, I'm sorry, the gravity well would tear it apart. That ship is not built for that. Voyager was the only one that was built for that. Like, it's stupid shit like that. I mean, I know that I shouldn't be nitpicking because it's a fictional series to begin with, just like everything we talk about. But it bothers me in the sense that if you're going to do it right. It's not Star Wars where you can just have the Millennium Falcon just fly anywhere you feel like it and have it land on the ground and it's a small ship and yes it has the hyperspeed and everything else, but they're two different things. It's not Star Wars. Treat it like Star Trek, not Star Wars. So I guess that's my soapbox, really. Yeah. Abrams at least got booted and sent over to where he belongs. Done with tirade. Sorry.
Now I am looking at several different things, and Damon was listed, even though it's not linked. He was listed as being in Bourne Betrayal, but I'm looking at Paul Greengrass on Wikipedia, and it says here that let's see. It was confirmed by Matt Damon that he is returning for the 5th Jason Bourne movie with Paul Greengrass in the director's seat, as we've already stated. In the statement, Damon said that it'll be in 2016 when the movie will actually come out. Greengrass is going to do another one, and that's all I've ever said. Just needed him to say yes. I don't know. I think it would be interesting if they did the Bourne Betrayal. I don't know. It sounds like a kind of a cool name. If you look at the Bourne movies, other than Legacy, because Legacy was just complete crap, I couldn't even... And I know I'm going to catch flack for this, but...
No, Legacy was crap.
I made it through 45 minutes of that movie, and I'm like, what am I watching?
I was at the drive-in. I couldn't leave. I started trying to watch other screens. My wife yelled at me because I started turning the radio elsewhere so I could turn around and look, and she's like, no. I eventually did succeed for this next film, but...
I mean, if you, outside of Legacy, if you look at the titles of the Bourne films, you have Bourne Identity, you have Supremacy, and Ultimatum. Bourne Betrayal would be a really cool title for the next one. It really would be.
And it very well may be the actual title.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah. What else do we want to talk about?
I do look forward to showing off my goodies. Not like that. That was not meant to be a Donism. I swear.
You liar.
The stuff that I get for Christmas. Because, like I said, I have a feeling I know what two of them are, but I don't know 100%. Right. And then there's some other things that I have no idea. But I'm trying. I finally put up this superhero thing that I got from a Halloween store.
Uh-huh.
And it's got Captain America and it's got Spider-Man kind of side by side, and it says superheroes. Well, I finally nailed it on my wall instead of having it sitting on the ledge in my office.
Right.
And then I hung up like my Rat Trap and my Batman and my John McClane, a.k.a. Joe Colton. And then I've got some other stuff I'm going to organize once I get some... I'm trying to get these poster frames so I can hang up all my signed posters that I've gotten. Just because I'd like to showcase them and have it as a nice backdrop.
Yeah.
At least in case I, don't have a green screen. Or if I do, I can take a picture of the wall and put it behind me.
True.
So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. And one of these days, I'll actually put pictures of all of what I have.
Right.
Because I have some from Beast Wars Dark Glass that we've done, and it's got Scott McNeil signing them.
Oh, cool.
Like the Rat Trap, Silverbolt, Waspinator, and Dinobot. And then there's I've got some that are from it's killing me. He's a artist he's done DC, he's done Marvel, he's done all kinds of stuff. He's I think it's Mark McKenna.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure that's his name. I met him at Grand Con, and he was actually at a booth right by the Geekcast Radio area. Mm-hmm. And I got 2 posters from him and had them signed, and they're pretty badass. I can't wait to put all of those up. And then I got one from Joe Reed at our own booth. Very cool. Couldn't help it. I had to buy it. It was he drew this awesome Ninja Turtles poster, and it was so badass. I had to have it. Even though I probably didn't need to spend the money that day, I think I dropped like $60 on art.
Joe does some pretty cool turtle stuff.
But yeah, and then I bought something from another guy that did a lot of the art from Batman the Animated Series, like card boxes and stuff like that, and trading cards and stuff like that. So I have that too. So I probably have a good 10, 12 posters that I can hang up.
Cool.
So I'm hoping I can get all those, so I can finish building the rest of my office and get some more of it set up. And I'm hoping to get my soundboard set up for next year so that I can actually try and play some effects on it and edit on that.
Yeah. I don't know how you guys have your son's room decorated, but you're mentioning all these heroes and stuff, and all as I keep flashing to is those fatheads. And I just looked at their website, and as cool as they are, I'm sorry, there's no way in hell anyone, I'm sure people have, but there's no way in hell anyone I know would spend $100 for a life-size, it's these things that you stick to your walls. It instead of having like a Spider-Man poster, it's an actual life-size picture of the character, but it's kind of like a cutout. I'm sure you've seen the fathead stuff before.
It sounds familiar.
And I'm looking at the prices of these things, and they're all like $100 a piece, and I'm like, who really is gonna buy this stuff?
Desperate people.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, and most of the stuff is sports figures and stuff, and they have stuff for kids like My Little Pony and Sesame Street and Nickelodeon, and they have the Frozen stuff, and I mean they look really cool as wall decorations. Like there's a Batman one where he's like jumping out at somebody. It looks really cool, but it's still one of those things where it's like $100 for a wall decoration, really? It's a little much.
Just a little bit much.
Cost a little bit too much. Yeah, see? That does not obviously get smart.
My vocal cords are just not like I can only go deep
Yeah.
with my vocals tonight, which is strange. It bothers me.
Other than that, listeners comment on the post telling us your Christmas traditions. I think that's pretty much it, unless you got other stuff you want to bring up.
Not really. I mean, there's been a couple little rumory things that of not really any importance that have been popping up about Batman, Superman. Then there's there's the other thing of people suggesting that Drake Bell should be the live action Spider-Man, which is part of the fallout of Sony's hack.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, Sony and Disney or Marvel or more so going to end up coming to terms at some point that they're going to produce, cross-produce with each other with Sony and Marvel, making Spider-Man movies and getting Spidey into the big cinematic universe, and they're probably going to recast Spider-Man yet again for the third time in the last 15 years, which is ridiculous.
All right, well, you said he's been recast twice in the last 15 years to this point. Look at...
Yeah, but they're going to do it again. They're going to reuse the same actor.
I know. I understand that, but I'm saying, like you said, he's been recast. He's been cast twice in the last 15 years. Once as Tobey Maguire and once as Andrew Garfield. Look at it this way. We had 3 Batmen in 8 years between 89 and 97.
Which is just as bad.
I honestly think at this point, the movie studios, this is just my personal opinion, people can lambaste me for this if they want to, they've taken the James Bond approach with these characters. And it's like, it's the same character, but it's a different movie. And it's a different actor. It's because if you look at Bond, obviously Connery was the longest Bond longest actor in the Bond role, and then you had Roger Moore, and then you had George Lazenby, and then you had Timothy Dalton, who has the shortest run, other than Lazenby, because Lazenby only did 1 movie, but I really think that that's what Hollywood has done now when it comes to these superhero action films. I think the only movie at this point in the Marvel staple that will probably not recast its main cast is Guardians. They have their people. They have Pratt. They have Batista. They have Vin Diesel as Groot, and they have Bradley Cooper as Rocket, and they have the Star Trek chick as Gamora.
Zoe Saldana.
Yeah. In the M-Wire episode that Mike Powers and I did, I kind of likened Star-Lord and Gamora to Pine and Saldana in Star Trek 1 with the whole sexual tension thing. Oh boy. Because I really got a Chris Pine, Captain Kirk feel off of Star-Lord. I really did.
The funny thing is he was originally going to be Captain Kirk. See?
Yeah.
They would have been justified at it, too. That's the funny thing. They just didn't know.
True. I don't know. I'm really excited for Star Wars. I'm excited for the next Furious film, even though it's not Justin Lin doing the directing. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with the next one, seeing as how they had to work around the death of Paul Walker. What else is coming out next year that I'm interested in? I know you probably won't see it. I know you enjoy Despicable Me, but you don't enjoy certain characters like I do. I cannot wait for the Minions movie.
No, I enjoyed that. My wife even said we'll probably take our son to that.
Yeah, I cannot.
She'd rather take him to see that over Penguins.
Yeah, Penguins isn't really kid friendly. I mean,
Well, especially when he's saying certain words that it hangs too long, just enough to be a swear word. Which is why she doesn't want him watching
Have you
it.
seen the?
She's like, it's no better than Shrek.
Have you seen the trailer for the Minions movie?
Yeah, I watched it. It was pretty funny.
I like at the end when he's trying to flirt with the fire hydrant. It's hilarious.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. I think we're pretty much set for this episode.
Missed it by that much.
Yep.
Yeah. So, no, I definitely agree. I think we're good for the week. So yeah, you guys have a great. Hope you guys had a great Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year, and we will talk to you soon. So until next time, unleash the geek in you.